E-mountain biking requires some basic skills for when you hit the trails, but we're not hitting the trails today, we're hitting the streets. I'm going to show you 5 basic skills you can learn absolutely anywhere. So the manual is a key skill to learn on your e-mountain bike. It's a really good way of lifting that front wheel up over rocks, roots and things that might cause you a bit of distraction out on the trail. So for the manual, it becomes a little bit harder on the e-mountain bike because you've got the weight of the motor and the battery down below. So you've really got to accentuate those movements. But to do the manual itself, we come in at a good jogging speed, squash the fork, then you transfer your weight back over the back wheel. You need to go right back over the back wheel, further than what you think, whilst pulling up with the handlebars and pushing through with your feet. When you hit the sweet spot of the balance, that's when you need to feather the brake to hold you in that manual position. So it's a case of pulling with your arms, pushing with your feet, and keeping that manual going. Now the track stand is a really good one to practice on the flat. It's a really good one to get used to balancing that bike before you commit to like a technical climb or a technical drop in. You can analyze a line and think about what you're going to do on your bike. Now for the track stand, you want to switch down into about a trail mode or even eco for this one. You don't need any power whatsoever. If you're in boost mode, you're going to find the bike lurching forward every time you engage the pedals. So it's all about getting your upper body in line with your handlebars, kind of creating a bit of a arc across the top of the top tube, and as your balance changes, you change with your upper body to keep balanced. Pushing forward with your pedals and holding it on the brakes, you can kind of rock back and forward to try and get a good balance point, or maybe even try to find a slight uphill slope because you won't have to use your brakes and it's all just in the balance. But an invaluable skill that will help you out loads. So a few more tips to the track stand. Actually, you can do this against a wall. You can press your front wheel against it and almost load the bike up with power as though you're going to try and ride through the wall. And you just try and hold your balance against that. It's the same way like the BMX guys do when they hit the start ramp. Another few things you might want to think about is focus. Some people like to look at the front wheel. Some people like to look into the distance. Just try and work out what works for you. Maybe just try and rest your knee against the top tube as well. That'll give you a bit more balance in the bike and give you another sensation to try and remember where that balance point is. But try those different things. The track stand is definitely worth learning. The bunny hop is definitely an essential skill to learn for your e-mountain bike, and especially when you hit the trails. If you've got the bunny hop, it means you can jump over ruts, you can jump over rocks, you can change lines really easy. It's also going to add a little bit of pop to your jumps, and maybe for the drops too. It's a really good one to learn. So for the bunny hop technique on an e-bike, it is obviously super heavy. You've got that battery down low and the motor down there. So you really need to accentuate all those movements. You also need to be really in time with your suspensions. Timing is definitely key when it comes to bunny hopping your e-mountain bike. You want to start as a big spring from your head all the way down to the tires, compress that. You need to rise exactly the same time as your suspension does on your e-bike. It's all about timing and using that pop. So finding an area just like this is really key to learning the bunny hop. A nice predictable surface where you've got good rolling speed is good, and also white lines work really well for using your timing to learning how to bunny hop. Thing is, if you're using a curb or something solid, it means if you mistime that hop, you could end up getting a puncture or damaging your rim. So try and find something you can get the timing right. So we're going to come into it, squash the bike in, pop up like a big spring. It's all about timing and getting that dialed in. It's a really good way of learning how to bunny hop. It's actually just going along on the flat, compressing your fork and your rear suspension if you've got it, that is. Learning where the suspension comes up and when it comes light, that's when you just need to accentuate your body language and give that bike a little helping hand up. So using your body after a light patch of the bike coming up into the air, should see those wheels coming off the ground. As you get higher and higher, you just accentuate that movement even more, pushing down into the bike and springing up at the same time as your bike. Right, so the endo, that isn't much use apart from showing off to your mates, but its brother, the endo turn, is something you should definitely learn to when you're hitting the trails. Just makes those tight switchback turns really easy. It's also good for slow speed control as well, maneuvering the bike round, maybe changing a line on a climb, something like that. So the endo turn, all we're doing is coming into that, getting a load of front brake whilst we transfer our weight down into the bike, then we hold the front brake and rock the weight forward. That way you're just going to do the endo, so you might want to get used to doing that first. So you're holding the front brake, pivoting on the front wheel, whilst all the time holding that front brake. Now the endo turn is exactly the same, but you just come into it on a slight carve, and as you do the endo, you do a quick flick of your hips and follow it through with the handlebars and pushing your feet round. That way you should get the bike to start to pivot. You just want to get it just working on small little steps round and then go for the full 180. So I found these few posts out on the seafront that I'm going to replicate kind of like a switchback turn. If I was just to roll around this without lifting any wheels, it could mean that I could run quite wide. It's also going to make the corner a lot bigger than it needs to be. Also on an e-bike, when you get to kind of this point of the turn, it's quite easy to get a bit of overrun on the motor and to get a bit of oversteer and lose that front end, especially with the rear wheel grip as well. So using the endo technique, you can come in a lot slower, steepen the turn up and actually move the back wheel, then get the power on. It's going to make those exits out those tighter turns a lot easier. Right, for this one it's pretty simple. You just need two objects, doesn't matter if it's rocks, branches, jumpers, road cones, you name it. This is a super simple one to do anywhere. So what we've got here is like a car parking space. I put down two markers on the floor, and all you're going to do is a figure of 8 around this, nice and slow. What it's going to do for you when you hit the trails is just increase that slow speed control of your bike when it comes to those slower corners. We're going to do this both directions, and the idea is that you go round as a figure of 8, but you don't go outside the red area or the car parking space. And as you get better at it, all you need to do is decrease the size of the circles to make it even harder for yourself. It's a really good one to develop that slow speed technique. Right, so what we're going to do for this one, just put the bikes in like a trail or eco mode. You don't want any boost because you don't want that surge of power driving you wide. It's also a really good mixture of that track stand. I'm going to use the BUNNYHOP technique. We're going to use that 180 endo. It really is key to learning that slow speed technique. Right, so let's give it a roll. So nice and slow, using the most of the box as you go round. Hop. Just try and look round. Also, it's really important to look where you want to go as well, because where your head goes, your bike tends to go. So we're just going around these. Just using a bit of front and back brake to move the bike around. Really good technique to learn that slow speed control. So now I'm going to go opposite way round. Remember, try and switch it up a bit to make sure you're turning left and right, because we all have a preferred way that we like to turn. So making those turns both ways, it's going to make it loads better when you hit the trail. Right, that's that one dialed. I'm going to decrease the size between the rocks. So there you go, 5 street skills you can practice absolutely anywhere on your e-mountain bike. Don't forget there's steps, ledges, rails, you name it, stuff you can spice up your e-bike riding when you hit the streets. But all of this stuff you can literally do outside your front door on flat ground. Don't forget to get involved. Let us know if you go street riding on your e-mountain bike to improve your trail skills in the comments box below. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Cheers guys.